What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Amateur Hour TV for another video on the second channel for Amateur Hour. On this channel, I like to go through some additional NBA-related topics, especially concerning the Toronto Raptors, that we just simply do not have enough time for on the main channel, Amateur Hour Sports, with nearly 11,000 subscribers. So instead, we talk about them here. I think it's very important to document these things, and I like sharing more of my thoughts with you guys. So if you enjoy what you see from today's video, be sure to drop a like, give that thumbs up. It really goes a long way to supporting the channel, and make sure you're subscribed to Amateur Hour TV. We're getting close to 800 subscribers, which means we're on a road to 1,000 subscribers. Can't wait to hit that milestone. I know we are going to do it, but let's get into our video for today. This is more of an informative video. This is mostly informative, but there are going to be some opinions as to what I think is going to happen with the Toronto Raptors roster ahead of the upcoming season, because right now there are 19 players under contract. Technically, well, pretty much not. I'll explain more. Pretty much 19 players under contract with the Raptors. You're allowed to have 20 people on your summer camp roster. I'm assuming the Raptors will bring in one more person just to fill out all of those numbers, but you can only have 17 players on your roster when the season begins, 15 on your main roster, plus 2 players on their two-way contracts. And as we learned this week, both of those two-way contracts are filled up now. So there is going to be an absolute dogfight from the last few players to earn those roster spots. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. I'm very excited for Summer League to kind of see how all this plays out, because there are some good players here, and there's some good players that are potentially just simply not going to make this roster because there is not enough space. There's also some good players, or some bad players rather, who might just make the roster because we actually have to pay them. And, let's actually get into what we're talking about. So I've used this tier list quite a few times. If you haven't seen it, I'd be surprised if you actually follow amateur sports content. But nonetheless, here we have all the tiers. They aren't ranked by talent or anything. It's people who are on guaranteed contracts up here, partially guaranteed contracts. So for at least 3 of these guys, not Dalano Banton, because I'm not exactly sure what his status is, but the partial guarantee for Brooks, DJ Wilson, and Justin Champagnie are a partial guarantee for this season and a non-guarantee for next season. They're all on 2-year contracts in that regard, and they have essentially the partial guarantee for them is essentially they earn their spot on the summer camp on the roster from summer camp this season, or they get cut. We pay them that little amount for their play in the summer, and we don't have to pay them anymore for this season or for next season. So basically, those are tryout contracts, very standard. And we have our RFA in David Johnson, the 47th overall pick from last season. And we have our two-way guys who are signed now in Ron Harper Jr., who we signed right after the end of the 2022 NBA entry draft. And we also have Jeff Dowden, who signed this week after some great performances in Summer League and excellent performances in the G League last season. UFA, Yuta Watanabe, I just like to mention him because even still, after I've talked about it so much, people don't understand that, okay, Yuta Watanabe is a free agent. He no longer plays for the Toronto Raptors. He just is not affiliated with them in any way. They don't need to get rid of him. He's already gotten rid of. He doesn't have a contract. They don't need to get rid of a player who already doesn't play for the team. So, yeah, he's just here to clarify that information. So what we have here are 12 players who are on guaranteed contracts. Now, I said there was 19 players signed, which isn't quite correct because technically Christian Koloko has not officially signed, but he's going to, so don't worry about it. We have 12 guys up here on guaranteed contracts. Another guy we need to discuss is Svi Mykhailiuk, who I'll put at the bottom now. We have the 4 guys on partial guaranteed contracts, which is 16 players. We have the RFA and David Johnson, which makes it 17 players. And then we have our two-way guys, which makes it 19 players. And then we have one more coming in at some point in the future. It won't be him, by the way. So the partial guaranteed guys and the RFA and David Johnson are the guys that we need to worry about in this discussion. Also, potentially Svi Mykhailiuk, because I was a little bit surprised to see Jeff Dowden get that two-way spot, but nonetheless, I think they're looking at him like somebody who's really going to help out the Raptors 9 to 5 in the G League this season. Possibly, very possibly get himself inserted within some point guard battles, the backup point guard position. I mean, it's for the taking. Malachi Flynn, we've been waiting for him to grow into that backup point guard role for a couple years now. It doesn't look like that's ever going to happen. Maybe this year. I don't think so, but maybe this year. Delano Banton, young player, ascending player. We expect at some point to take that role. Not quite at that level where we can fully trust him game in, game out, but we're going to give him a little bit of time. He was a 46 overall pick last season. And Jeff Dowtin, maybe he gets himself in that spot, in that conversation, because, I mean, he was great in the G League last season, like I said. He was awesome in Summer League this year, a standout performer in Summer League for the Raptors. So that could be something we look at. But now we need to discuss. So of 15-man roster, we have 12 here on guaranteed contracts. 11 of them I am like almost 100% sure are going to be here. These top 11 guys up here are going to be on the roster pretty much no matter what. Like, we're definitely not going to cut Malachi Flynn here. Svi Mykhailiuk is a maybe, but for right now, he's on a guaranteed contract, which leaves 3 of these 5 players here fighting, or 3 spots for these 5 guys that they need to fight for. So how I think it's going to go down, I think it's like very safe to say Dalano Banton will be on this team for next year. So we'll put him at the front here. Like, I don't even think it's necessary to have a conversation. Like, I am so confident he's going to be on the roster come day 1 of the season. We're going to give him more time. We have a lot of faith, and I think in him. I think the front office has a lot of faith in him. He's going to be on the roster. So then we have these 4 guys. Now, these 3 guys have all shown flashes of being NBA caliber talent. They're mixed bag in terms of ages, especially for DJ Wilson, but they've all shown NBA level talent. One guy who was not shown NBA level talent is David Johnson. David Johnson was in the G League last season, and he was less than that, like pretty, like almost pathetic in Summer League. Like, it was like, come on, like this man, this is all you can do. That was my reaction to watching him in Summer League. So I know it was a 47th overall pick last season. That's a sunk cost. I'd rather give a spot to somebody I have more faith at competing at an NBA level. I don't really care we drafted him 47th overall. Like, it is what it is. It sucks. Maybe a wasted pick, but I mean, even if we kept him, that's still a bit of a wasted pick. So I imagine he's going to get cut, which leaves these 3 players. And from these 3 players, it's going to be very difficult to choose amongst them. So we have the 12 here. We have the 13 here in Dalano Banton. We need the 14 and the 15 out of these guys. It is worth noting, last year the Raptors carried only 14 of those 15 spots. They had 1 spot that was empty to stay under luxury tax. I don't believe that is a factor for this season, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But let's assume we are going to operate with the full 15 on the roster. Justin Champagnie, in my opinion, did enough. Had some good flashes in the NBA last season after earning a spot through the Summer League and through preseason. Had some good flashes in the NBA. Ended up kind of dropping down to the G League to get a bigger role. And, oh, trust me, guys, this guy's way too good for the G League. He was so good in the G League. It was so mesmerizing to watch him play sometimes. Like, his catch and shoot game improved a ton. His shot off the dribble improved a ton. He showed some great flashes of slashing to the rim. Like, he was great in the G League. I expect him to join Dalano Banton. I don't think there's going to be a ton of discussion there, which means one of these 2 guys needs to be selected for the roster. So we've got a combo guard, kind of in Armani Brooks. Late in the season last year, I thought he had some very important performances. Nothing that was crazy, but especially as Fred was dealing with injuries, really helped us kind of leap over the Cleveland Cavaliers, in my opinion. There was that one game against the Cavs that basically, like, winner gets the 5th seed almost type of game. I know the Cavs fell off a little bit more, but that's what it felt like at the time. And Armani Brooks came in, hit a couple big threes, and was playing some solid defense. Like, this is a decent player who has a lot of NBA experience. And the Raptors signed him last season. It was actually funny. It was during that period where a ton of players were going into protocols, and Brooks had just visited the Raptors 9-5. Like, his team came to Mississauga to play the Raptors 9-5. And Armani Brooks actually, like, even though the 9-5 won comfortably, I was at this game, Armani Brooks lit up the gym. Like, this guy was dialed in, knocking down 3 after 3 after 3. He was so good in that game. And off the back of that performance, the Raptors like, okay, this guy's good. Let's sign him. We need a shooter. And that's kind of what you can expect here. We saw some good flashes of him. That's a good candidate for the spot. But DJ Wilson is a player, a former 17th overall pick, I believe, but it's been quite a long time since then. It was a 2017 17th overall pick. Not living up to that potential, but DJ Wilson is a player who kind of fits the Raptors in terms of his size. He's got good switchability on defense. He's pretty lengthy, has a decent, mid-range type of game, though I don't think that's something that we truly need here. There's some good things about him. It's just somebody that you might feel a little bit more confident in, like consistent wise, but Armani Brooks, I feel like, has more to offer to this team. So it's a difficult decision. If I had to choose between them, we got a lot of guys who can do this job. We don't have a lot of guys who can space the floor. I would like to give Armani Brooks the spot over DJ Wilson, which would leave DJ without a contract in the UFA position. But that can change. This is where Svi Mykhailiuk can kind of come into the equation. Svi Mykhailiuk is owed $1.9 million for this season. It's guaranteed, as you see over here. $1.9 million for an organization like the Raptors, for ownership like Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, MLSE. $1.9 million isn't a ton of money. And you can definitely cut Svi Mykhailiuk. That's something that is a very distinct possibility. But if you cut Svi Mykhailiuk, you got to pay him $1.9 million to play somewhere else. Maybe it's in the NBA, maybe it's not, but you got to pay him $1.9 million. You got to pay the salary of this guy that you're now choosing to keep. And, you know, respectfully, DJ Wilson is not a guy who's getting a ton of minutes. So you're paying the $1.9 million plus this guy's salary just for him not to really play still. And, you know, it's not like Svi Mykhailiuk is, like, he's not good, but is he really that much worse than DJ Wilson? I'd say I'd rather have DJ Wilson on the team, but what I want to, like, thinking from a, like from a fan perspective, would love to give DJ Wilson that shot. Like, you know, Svi Mykhailiuk sucks. I don't want him anymore. But from an ownership, front office perspective, do you really want to pay just to have a guy not play for your team and then have, you know, the guy come in, also not get a ton of minutes? That's definitely a decision that needs to be had there. It's not like DJ Wilson is like some young and up-and-coming player that we can develop. Sure, we can develop him, but at this point in his career, it's kind of like, well, you really do kind of know what you're going to get with DJ Wilson. I think he's like 26, if I'm guessing correctly. He could be like only 25, maybe 24, but you kind of know exactly what you're going to get at this point. Is it worth really investing in that as a front office? I don't think so. Kind of sad from a fan perspective, but that's just kind of how I think everything is going to transpire with DJ on this team. Unfortunately, I see us keeping an eye like, hey, maybe he improves his game. Maybe he starts being a little bit more effective. My guess is that's not going to happen, but nonetheless, that's how I feel this is going to play out. DJ Wilson and DJ David Johnson are the players that I believe will be removed from this roster. But there is still another player who has to come in. Maybe that player earns the spot by surprise. I guess I doubt it, but it's a possibility. Maybe they waive Svi Mykhailiuk. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But going into summer camp, this is how I expect the roster decisions to unfold. Some difficult decisions need to be made, but it's business. It's about winning. You got to help your team win. You got to take care of your front office financially. That's the way it goes. Thank you so much for watching this video of Amateur TV. I hope you did find it informative and enjoyable. If you did, be sure to drop a like here. Goes a long way to supporting the channel. And, you know, when you drop a like, YouTube recommends this video to more people because they're like, oh, this guy likes the video. Another guy with similar interests, well, he might also like this video, so let's recommend it to him. That's how it works. So by liking the video, it does help me out a lot. And make sure if you're one of those new people or you're already a follower of Amateur Sports, you want to also support Amateur TV, you can go ahead and do so by subscribing. Help us on a road to 1,000 subscribers. We like to keep it logged on Amateur TV with videos consistently all throughout the offseason and through the next season. So I'll see you again next time for another video.